That's better. While I was going around and while I was at the door, trying to feel the audience today, I was surprised to see that many of the faces around and the names around are known to me personally. And so I told myself, Mr. Tugade, better be careful. These people know you. They will say when you are telling the audience bullshit. So today I have no other choice but to tell you the truth and nothing else but the truth. The topic that is assigned to me, or rather, I volunteered to assign to myself, is called Good Governance and Transparency, a Recipe for Growth. Let me tell you a little bit about the topic. Why do I say recipe? To be honest, Mr. Castañeda, I had a dream of becoming a cook. I was never a cook, and believe you me, I never know how to use facilities and utensils in the kitchen. So my exposure was doing management. And when the opportunity presented itself so that I can remember and cherish my dream of being a cook, I said perhaps the topic I will assign myself today is recipe for growth. I may not know recipes for the kitchen, I may not know recipe on how to cook in the kitchen, but certainly I have gained experiences on how to formulate a recipe for business growth. I have the experience for the recipe of business growth, and the recipe is very simple. It is all about good governance and transparency. Let me tell you this, I've never been in government. It was never my dream or was never my aspiration to be in government. I have been introduced as the president of Clark Development Corporation, a government entity. What am I doing in this government entity? Believe me, ladies and gentlemen of the CEO Forum, I don't know. Perhaps someone played a big joke. Perhaps I was misled. I dreamt, Richard, of becoming an ambassador one day. And so I said, yes, if you want me to be in government, appoint me to be in one of the diplomatic posts. Not the developed countries, not the developing countries, perhaps in the God-forsaken countries. That was, if at all, my aspiration to be in government. I was said and I was told, submit your biodata and we'll look for a post for you. And so I did. I submitted my biodata. And after many months of hide and seek, 6 months more or less, I received a call in between and said, we have a post for you. And I said, oh, good, where? In Pampanga. And then it has dawned on me, Pampanga is not an independent republic. It has dawned on me that there is no diplomatic ties between the Republic of the Philippines and the Republic of Pampanga, if at all. And so what the heck? What will I be doing in Pampanga? And I was told, go join Pampanga, head CDC, and perhaps after 1 year, we can give you and have you realize your dream of having a diplomatic post. And so and behold, I agreed. That was the second mistake. I joined government in December 18 of year 2012. From that day on, my life was never the same ever again. I joined, and I said, and I was asked a plenty of times and said, Mr. Tugade, Mr. President of CEO, what are your plans for the Clark Development Corporation? What are your plans for the Clark Freeport Zone? I said, none. I don't have plans. I don't have program of actions. I do not even have established mission or vision for Clark simply because I was not ready to accept that position simply because I was not ready to accept a position in government. But lo and behold, I accepted. And so I told myself, Art, you may not have plans, you may not have programs, you may not have formulated strategies and mission, but Art, please remember, just be yourself. And being yourself, I told my own self, okay, go ahead, Art, join government, and bring with you the culture, the values, and ways of doing things which you, as a growing boy and as a growing entrepreneur, brought to your family and brought to your business. Bring the culture and values and ways of doing things in Clark. And perhaps if they will be one with you with this culture, values, and ways of doing things, then it would be easy and fastidious to formulate plans and objectives. And so it was. I was in Clark bringing only my values, ways of doing things. And so I had my first assembly with the men and women of the Clark Development Corporation, and I said, I come here without any plans. I come here without any program of action. I come here only with the culture and values and ways of doing things, which I am sure you all know. But these values and culture are so simple, which you all know and you must accept. We take for granted. And many of the things we normally take for granted are the things that will serve as the key in opening for you growth and development, are the key that will open and unlock the doors for you to achieve growth and development. And so I said, henceforth, let it be known, on my first day of work, on my first day of General Assembly, of the following reminders I will tell you to observe, and strictly you must observe, because if you don't observe, I'll cut your balls. And what are these things which they know, and I know you know? Very simple. My favorite president, Mr. Oski Reyes, sir. I said, rule number 1, be punctual. Be punctual. We are in government service, we'll be performing service to government, we'll be interacting with the community. In heaven's sake, be punctual. I said, don't make the community wait. Don't make your peers wait. Don't make the locators wait. Just be punctual. If you are punctual, you respect yourself. If you are punctual, you respect others. If you are punctual, you will show that you are excited, full of enthusiasm in doing the schedule on that given hour and given date. Be punctual. And so I said, I tried to experiment, sir. My meetings, I put it at very odd hours, just to develop the psyche of being aware, of being conscious about time. I call meetings, sir, at 3:12 in the afternoon. I call meetings, sir, at 8:10 in the morning. I call meetings, sir, at 5:45 in the afternoon. Very odd, very queer. But I said, effective today, there will be no reckoning point, because during that time, there was no Philippine Standard Time as yet. I said, 2 reckoning points. The radio station called DCMM, and to my foreigner friends, Bloomberg. I don't care what your timepiece is branded or what it is called. Just stick to DCMM and Bloomberg, and that will be the reckoning point of time. Very simple. Just be punctual. Many times, Richard, we read and we hear that millions and billions of pesos are thrown away out of the window simply because we are caught in traffic. But believe you me, Michael, much more is thrown away because we waste time. And so I said, be punctual. Rule number 2, again, very simple. Smile. 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 You are in government service. You have no ascendancy nor right to front, to show a face that antagonizes or inject fear in the people we interact with. You must learn how to smile. Even in your own respective businesses, the best marketing tool is how to deliver that genuine and caring smile. And you know what we did? Stephen, you know what we did? I'll tell you. I had to practice them how to smile. In the practice and way, I know how to smile. And so we went elementary. And so we went childish. And I said, at the count of 1, 2, 3, when I say 3, you must be willing to deliver that smile, the caring that shows sincerity. You want me to demonstrate? I will demonstrate. I want you to count 1, 2, 3. Okay? You see? Now it's my turn. Evan, where's Evan? Evan. Evan, hi, Evan, how are you? Come here, Evan. Please join me here. Because Evan asked me, I'm here, sir, to listen to your speech. I said, oh, good. I can make you a prop. Show me my friend. Come here, Evan. Evan, count 1, 2, 3, and I will smile.
1, 2, 3.
You see? Very easy. Evan, I count now. 1, 2, 3. You see? Huh? It's easy. Now that we have made fools of ourselves, allow me to make fools out of you. I will count 1, 2, 3 together, Evan, and all of you smile. 1, 2, 3. You see, it's easy to smile. Believe me. Many a times you have been. It's now my turn, Evan. Believe me. You have experienced perhaps dealing with government, and the first thing you see is a fearsome face. The first thing you see is a sulking face, and the first person you see is a late person that is not even on time for their appointment. Show government service. Show welcome. Show your willingness to do a job. Be punctual and smile. The next point which I introduce, and again, all of you know, respect. And I said, we will respect. Of course, different jurisdiction, different area has different way of manifesting and expressing respect. I said, effective today, you must learn how to say, ma'am and sir. You must show respect by addressing the right people, ma'am and sir. This was taught to me by my mother. I grew up in the slums of the Tatalon area in Quezon City. I did not have the privilege and luxury of good toilets and flushing toilets. We have to pump water for me to take a bath. You are finished with your breakfast. We have to do our things, Oski, by putting a hole on the land, on the soil, and then that's where we do our things. Life was not easy. But my mother told me, and indeed he told me, Raj, whatever physical absence you have when it comes to luxury, offset it, my dear son, by showing respect. And the fundamentals of respect is being able to say with all sincerity, yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. Regardless of the age, don't wait for an elderly to come to you to say ma'am and sir. I said in government, regardless of the age, you must learn how to show respect by saying sir and ma'am, even to the youngest individual that come in front of our table expecting us to do a government service. Respect. Respect that carries with it humility. Not because we are in government, we can exude and demonstrate pride. No arrogance. No arrogance. You have to be humble and you have to show respect. And I said, break any of this rule, I will break you. And so I said, in addition to respect, I said, be honest. I will borrow a line from honesty which says, if others cannot be honest, will not be honest, and cannot be honest, just be honest. And what better way to show honesty in government than doing what I will explain later? You know why, sir? Because basically, the problem in government, the moment you enter government, there is already the unfounded and perceived perception that you are dishonest. And so it becomes doubly hard for us in government to show that we in government, to show that we at the Crack Development Corporation is honest. Let dishonesty in government remain to be a perception. Don't convert that perception into a reality, because if I see you being dishonest, I will fight you up to kingdom come. Just be honest. And so I said, be honest, do your thing. We have to break the myth of people in government are born and are put there to discharge function within the environment of dishonesty. We are there in government to perform a job in the spirit of sincere government service. And so, being the case, I want you to show your best. In every position you do, hindi pwede ang pwede na. Translated in English, no mediocrity. You have to take one step beyond their expectations. You must always deliver it your best, and your best is your best. And the example I said is, very sad. When you ask some engineering and architectural activities to be done by Japanese and Germans and other foreigners, even the lining of the bulb are in straight line. Get that? Tayo sa Pilipino, matapos lang, yari na. I said, for us in Philippines, as Filipinos, very sad to say, so long as we finish, it's okay. We don't care if it's mediocre. I said, strive for excellence. And together, we can achieve excellence. This brings me to the next point on excellence and honesty. I have been very strong on the no-give policy. I have been very strong and very demanding on the no-give policy, and I told my staff and I told myself, there shall be a no-give policy. This is a government pronouncement, and I will give it life, soul, and realities in CDC. No-give policy. Meaning, you cannot accept gifts of whatever nature in kind, or whatever value or peso equivalation. No gifts at any time of the day, at any day of the week, at any week of the month, at any month of the year, including Christmas, my birthday, or Valentine's. No gifts. 1, 2, 3 of you that I see here have experienced with me this Christmas. They wanted to send gifts. In that same minute, my office received it. In that same minute, it was returned. We return as mildly as we can, and we remind them that we appreciate your gift, but let the appreciation stay there. We cannot accept your gift. Very simple. Remember I told you about perception, madam? If I get gifts from the locators and I extend requests from the locators, what is the very first impression? Because I accepted gifts from them. Because they dine me and they wine me. I'm not saying womanize. My 2 children are here. They might say to mama, remove the perception. And that's why I don't accept invitation for lunch or dinner. But if I'm forced to accept one rule, either I pay you and I treat you for free lunch or for dinner, or the classic case of that street. You pay what you eat, I pay what I eat. Many people found it queer, as many of these activities found it queer and crazy. But I said to myself, at the very instance you will find it hard, perhaps queer and crazy, I don't give a damn. I know that at the end of the day, you will realize that what I am doing is not only good for me, it's not only good for government, but more importantly, good for yourself, especially if you come in a different domain other than the Republic of the Philippines, if you are a foreigner. You will appreciate this. And so, I said in addition to this is better said in Filipino, I said, ang chismoso, pang-impyerno, ang intrigero, pang-calaboso. You know, I'm an old man, so hard to stand permanent. So you have to walk to energize your being. And so I can interact with you closer so that you will see the sincerity in my eyes and you will avoid sleeping while I talk. Of course you are not sleeping. Okay? Ang intrigero, pang-impyerno, ang chismoso, pang-calaboso. In English, one who sows gossips and intrigues are deserving of the jail. One who sows intrigues and gossip is deserving of hell. In government, as in your organization, one way or the other, you have experienced gossip circulating around which are unfounded. You have experienced intrigues which are intended to sow discord and disunity. I said in CDC, Ma'am, that is not allowed. You have to learn how to speak up the truth. You have to learn how to be very transparent. You have to learn how to speak well of your peers. You have to learn how to speak well of the stakeholders. You have to be aware of this. And if you cannot say anything good about anybody else, yes, sir, keep your mouth shut. And I said, this rule will try to develop harmony within this organization, and the harmonized organization can perform better. In addition to this, I said, pride. You must have pride in CDC. You are performing job in government. You must be proud in announcing to the whole world that you are proud to be a government employee. You are proud to be a government servant. And so one way of displaying and propagating your pride, God, is to wear your IDs and wear it with dignity. And so I said, many times they will wear IDs like this. And so you will see people putting IDs in the pocket. I said, your ID is your identity. I want you to display it prominently. Be proud of that ID. Don't hide it. I saw people putting their IDs behind their back pocket as if their identity deserves only their assholes. I said, be proud of your identity. Wear it in the right places. And more importantly, sing the national anthem with pride. Very simple. When I joined the government, the first flag raising ceremony, and I will go to this table where the CDC employees are, to look at them straight in the eye, because I am telling you the truth. They will play the national anthem, and some of them will stand like this. One crazy guy was even cleaning his nose. While the national anthem was being played, I said, putang ina. When the national anthem is played, sing it and sing it with pride. And you must give it the right attention it deserves. So that when you say, nang mamatay nang dahil sa'yo, and I will die because of you, my country, you mean it. And you are willing to do it so. I said, have identity. Just perform those two things. Value your ID and realize the meaning and signification of the national anthem. Over time, believe me, you will have dignity and pride in your identity. And so, I had to break the wall. Partner, when I joined government, relatives here, relatives there. There is one department, husband and wife in one department. Not to be contented, buddy, there's the daughter-in-law, the son-in-law. You know, you play with relatives. And then General Magno, when you have relatives around, is it easy to manage? It's not. Because they have a powerful clique amongst themselves. I am not exaggerating when I say, Noel, that even in finance, there were two husband and wife working in accounting. Oh my goodness gracious. I had to break the myth of relative and family. I had to break the myth of entitlement. And so I rotated them all. And those who cannot bear me as I cannot bear them, I asked them to go. But I ask you the option, and I give you the option to choose which one to go. But I reserve the last. I reserve the veto power. But you make it. So we try to break the culture of relationship. Pangungutang. That's a difficult word for my friends, my foreigner friends. Pangungutang. Pangungutang simply means borrowing. I'll give you one of the surprises of my life. When I joined and I reviewed the payroll, I found out that almost 30%, madam, had no take-home pay. Because most of their net pay are already reserved for paying out loans and obligations. From the SSS to the GSIS, or whatever S you call it, and the bank, wala nang naiwan. And out of that 30%, sir, 50% are in a department called Public Safety Department. And madam, all of those people, 90%, have 3 children. They are schooling. They are in nursery rooms. It requires a lot of expense. And so you know that you ask the question, how the hell can they feed their family when there's no take-home pay? And that opens the door for what? Foolishness, misdeeds, and corruption, especially so if one of the person that is in this category is carrying a gun. And so I said, effective immediately, I will ask people to update their loans. No more prospective. If you don't have a net take-home pay of at least 40%, no more borrowings. They hated me for that. I hated them too. You know, because apparently they are not willing to change. And so this was the situation there. And these are the cultures and values and ways of doing things I inculcated. Nothing new. They knew it. You know it, sir. They're all very simplistic. They are all very fundamental. But the simplistic and the fundamental we tend to forget, and they forgot. And that's why we have problems. And so I said, while I preach and while I mandate, I have to set an example. Because again, my mother told me, by experience with some people like teachers and principals and priests, what they preach, they don't follow. Huh? When they say, stick to one wife, they have 4 wives, all these things. And so I told myself, I will walk the talk and show the example. Example number 1, I waive all my benefits in the Clark Development Corporation from the first day I stepped into Clark. I waive my living allowance. I waive my transportation allowance. I waive my service vehicles. I waive my driving allowance. I waive, sir, my representation expenses. And believe me, very high. If I am the president, I am entitled to 100,000 a month. High. All you have to do is submit receipts. In addition to that, I have also representation expenses, sir, of 50,000 a month. A total of 150,000. That's high. I waived them all. I was crazy. Gasoline alarms, I waived them all. Toll, where's NLEX here? Toll, I waived them all. But believe me, I pay my tolls at NLEX. Otherwise, they will not allow me to get in and get out. I pay. This is a lot of money. And I told myself, if I can waive this, then I have shown to you that when I join government, it's not for the mullah. It's not for the money. It is for doing what I think is right. I had to take a plunge. I had to take a plunge and I had to take a bite. Why? Because I have to walk my talk. And the best way to preach is by example. Having said this, I made sure that I'm never late in my meetings. Many times, the boss of an office thinks he has the ascendancy to be late, thinks he can make people wait. Me, I'm never late. You know, sir, I travel to Ayala, Alabang. Yes, I'm a rich man now. Yeah. I used to, to scout around to look for my meals, but I'm a rich man now. So I go to Ayala, Alabang. Do you know the distance between Ayala? I think, Stephen, you're my neighbor in Ayala, Alabang, right? How are you, neighbor? Yeah. And Stephen knows, and he has heard. I travel almost every day from Clark to Ayala, Alabang. I enrich the toll operators, including NLEX. Many times I leave very early. Many times I leave very late. But despite leaving very early or very late, when there is an appointment, I'm there. I'm there, if not exactly on time, 5 minutes before the time. Because if you are there 15 minutes before the scheduled meeting, you're also wasting time. Imagine waiting for 15 minutes and everybody comes 15 minutes early. Imagine the time you have wasted. So I'm never late. And I tell you a secret. Don't even dare follow me. It's hard. And it's very difficult. I do not have departmental meetings or group meetings. Brian, right? I remember you. Brian, how are you? Or departmental meetings during office hours. If you want departmental meetings or group meetings, have it before office hours, and that is before 8:30. So we will meet at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, or after office hours, and that is 5:30, and we will meet until, sir, what time? 10 o'clock? What time? 11 o'clock. And I will go home. Ma'am, and I will still be on time for the next working day, the following day. I had to show by example that time can be balanced. Since time is man-made, people can control and manage time. And so I showed this example. Let me just tell you about paying lunch. Any Koreans here? No Koreans? Oh, you're pretending. Korean? No Koreans? Good. I can tell the story. I was lunching in one Korean restaurant, I think with some people there in that table. And we were so in a hurry. We were meeting at the same time. We were lunching. And then after lunch, I asked for the check. And the Korean attendee said, sir, everything has been paid. I said, by who? Sir, the Korean at the back of your table, he sends his compliment. This is his card. You know what I said? Call that Korean, tell him, fuck his ass. I do not accept free lunch, especially from locators. We'll do it this way. Give me the receipt he paid. I will pay for it, and you receive me. Next time I come here, you show me proof that you gave it to the Korean account. I am sure the Korean did not mean anything ill will. I would like to give the benefit of the doubt that the Korean did not think of any other purposes except to treat a hungry-looking guy for a free lunch. But then, perception. I hate perception. And when we did this, and then I lunched the following week or two, and the owner showed me a receipt that the Korean actually acknowledged receiving the cash I paid with a note. Thank you, sir. I pay for my own lunch. And if I treat my people for lunch, I pay for it. There is a director, member of the board of directors in CDC. You know what happens? Every time there is a board meeting and I have a per diem, that's where they have splurge. We spend my per diem. That's where it is. So I have to set the example. How many more minutes I have, sir? Forever. We will stay here forever. No gifts accepted. I mentioned this to you. Let's put this a little bit so that I can also brag on what happened after all this. So I promoted the spirit of malasakit, you know. I coined a phrase, Clark Development Corporation. C stands not only for Clark, C stands for competent. D not only stands for development, it stands for daring. The other C does not only stand for corporation, it stands for caring. And so I said, from now on and effective today and during my watch, I want you to feel and give life to the saying that Clark Development Corporation is a competent, daring, and a caring corporation. And that is where I found the opportunity to inject the meaning of malasakit. Malasakit to my foreigner friends, I find to be the most expressive Filipino word. It means a lot of good things. Anything you do for the environment, anything you do with your fellows, anything to do with your peer, anything good things you do, even for your enemies and opponent, will fall under the word malasakit. And so I said, let malasakit be our battle cry in the service of government. Of course, parenting, mentoring. I taught them how to, except for the financial people, how to appreciate balance sheet and financial statement. Tell me, my dear Jamaica Chen, How the hell do you manage corporation if you cannot read financial statements? How the hell do you manage corporation when you do not even and cannot even relate an activity of expense or an activity of revenue to the balance sheet? And therefore I mandated that everyone, including the lawyers, must know how to appreciate financial statement and balance sheet. Have you ever imagined a lawyer reporting, director, a lawyer reporting to the board on financial statements? Have you ever imagined an architect reporting to the board on the balance sheet? Have you ever imagined marketing to be reporting on return on investments? It took a little while, but then they hated me for that. Now, they are all yabang because they know financial statements. They are all yabang, they are all proud because they know how to read and equate balance sheet. They are all yabang because when we meet in Mancom and executive meetings, we can relate to the revenue side as we can relate to the expense side, as we can relate to past and present and future value computation. I taught them that, and I had to spend hours and hours and hours of the day. In addition to my day-to-day responsibilities, I have to teach them that. Thank you, my dear. You see, that's Malasakit. He's, by the way, connected with my media group. Thanks for the water. Can you spare me 5 seconds? Good, thank you. And so I said, these were the things. So many things. Let me just go to 2 things. I merged corporations. I merged departments, divisions. After 4 weeks, I called a meeting, attended by the EVP and my 5 vice presidents. You know how the scenario went after 4 weeks? I'll tell you. Round table. I said, you, Mr. EVP, I'm sorry. I cannot work with you. You, Mr. Vice President, I'm sorry. I cannot work with you. Vice President 2, Vice President 3, I cannot work with you. But even though I cannot work with you, let's not discuss anymore whether I have grounds or you are a grib. I will give you a deal. Apply for retirement. I will approve your retirement in 2 days. I don't like to see your faces anymore because I cannot work with you. Lo and behold, when my personal lawyers were worried that suits after suits and cases after cases will be filed against me, no one dared. And they all left. Of the 5 vice presidents, only one was left behind. The EVP was gone. I never replaced him. There were assistant vice presidents which I tapped on the shoulders and others voluntarily left. As there were equally general managers who left and I tapped on the shoulders. Some of the locators, please accept it and don't deny it, have had experiences and sad experiences of that with these people. I let them go. But I did not replace this with my own people. I did not bring anyone with me when I joined government. Not even my secretary. Not even my staff. I said, you, the men and women of CDC, I remove your heads. I am willing to sink and float with you. I will not assign people coming outside from CDC to take over the positions I have left vacant. I will take it from you. I had to take a big gamble. Ultimately, you will see that the gamble paid. Sir, in Tagalog, nakarinig na ba kayo ng mga taong pumunta sa gobyerno na hindi nagdala ng staff? Have you heard of people joining high positions in government that did not bring anybody with him when he joined government? Now you have heard one. Me. Me. I joined without tagging anybody with me. Having put up the culture by preaching an example, I introduced reforms in line with our topic, transparency and good governance. When I joined, the mentality of government is always regulatory and control. I said, this is an economic zone. I will throw away that image and that feeling of being regulatory and control. We will change the concept of being in CDC, CDC being a business enhancer. We are a partner to the locators that locate in Clark. We have to make them succeed. We will not be watching every steps they make. For the well-meaning locators, let's give them our arms and attention of cooperation and care. For the not well-meaning, let's all kick them out. Clark deserves better locators than all those who run around the policies of Clark simply to make their own personal agenda. And so I said, when I joined, who are those working in Clark here, in economic zone? Your permit was 1 year. Corte, Certificate of Registration and Tax Exemption, it is issued every year. When I was there, on my first month, I was signing Corte, which has already expired. I was signing Corte, which is already about to expire. I said, what? I cannot tolerate this. You got what I wanted to say, ma'am? Information. I said, effective immediately. Mr. Villanueva, Corte shall not have a life of 1 year. 3 years. 3 years. And I want Corte to be issued within 2 weeks upon submission of full compliances. And people are happy. People are happy. Normally, I have examples about Corte being 3 years as against 1 year. But it behooves me now not to say that example because I see so many ladies here. So let us just go to the permits. Corte before was issued at the earliest 70 days upon request. Request for tax exemption at the earliest when the need for tax exemption is already gone. And so I said, I want to reduce processing time. I want to reduce it by 50-60% at the least. And so I merged company. And so I introduced computerization and automation. And so I upgraded processes. After 1 year, in 2013, on real time, we were able to reduce processing time by no less than 60% on the overall. Am I happy and satisfied? Yes, temporarily. Their target now, and our target now, is to reduce it by 80%. It is a tall and challenging order, but I like tall and challenging orders. I don't like to set easy targets. Everyone and anyone, sir, can do easy targets. Not with me. The harder it gets, the better. And I do not mean in the language you understand, Brian. The harder it gets, the better. I mean it in terms of management challenges. Okay? So we introduce certain cash flow. Perhaps you can arrange another meeting if we can have some benchmarking and sharing on financial management. By the way, I am a lawyer. I have no units in accounting and finance, even a single unit. But I can read financial statements. Give me the present, Oski, the present P&L, 3 months, and give me The last two audited statements of the company, I will tell you the story. If I can do it, you non-accountants and non-finance man, you can do it. Ang katapat lang yan, learning time, sweat and perspiration. Sometimes even blood. But believe me, once you learn it, it's well worth it. In Meralco, you do that. You can even take over the place of Oski. You know? And if you don't know this balance sheet, you cannot take over. You know? Sir, hindi ba ganon? Oh, ganon yun. You know? So, all this. And then, my favorite topic. When I joined, there were contracts that has escalation clauses and contracts without escalation clauses. I said, what's this? You know the impact of no escalation clause? That's in the millions of pesos, especially in a paradigm of 25, 50 years. No escalation? I said, from now on, contracts will be templated. There will be escalation clauses as there will be grace period. There is even one contract. Grace period forever. Fuck. You know, grace period forever. Hey, can you imagine that, ma'am? In government, a grace period forever? This is highly unreasonable, if not totally illegal. And so I templated a contract containing a defined escalation formula and defined grace period. There were people who took lands in Clark without developing, and they have been there for the last 19 years. And I had to review their contract and say, what the heck? You know? Why? You know why? Because in their contract, sir, there was no schedule of developments. When they will start developing, when they will finish developing, and what employees or magnitude or depth of employments they will hire, and at the same time equivocate how much investment they will put. None. Some contracts, none. So they have been there sitting on their lands, 100 hectares, 20 hectares, and 5 hectares, just sitting on the land, doing nothing. And I said, enough is enough. Basta ya. I cannot allow this. Then I said, part of my social responsibility, every contract you sign in Clark, you will have to have an undertaking that you will hire persons with disability. Of course, you will not hire the deaf, the blind, they all together. You know, persons with disability and the ITAS, my aborigines. Of course, I will not hire everyone, ITAS. Maybe you can hire 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4. But then if you are to sum up all these hirings, then you will have done your social responsibility. So I demand this. Then I also request now renewable energy. Sorry, all those power producers here. I said, I want you to use renewable energy. I want you to use solar. Of course, the companies that have been there, what can I do? They are already there. But the companies coming in, you will have to reckon with this additional thing. But so that we will achieve a holistic approach, all those whose buildings have been put up, I tell them in writing, put up solar and renewable energy, I give you incentives so that you can recover the costs. So that over time, Clark can pride itself as an economic zone that support climate change, as an economic zone that support renewable energy. All these things are there, and so I said, made it very clear. These contracts will apply to all, regardless of nationalities. These contracts will apply to all, regardless of size. What applies to Peter applies to Pedro. What applies to John applies to Juan. And so we have now a uniformity rule. After having said all this, meron pa ba? One of the guests asked me about supply chain. Okay, I introduced the concept of supply chain in Clark. meaning the service providers that supports major industries, I will locate them surrounding Clark. And so that makes doing business in Clark cheaper and more efficient because there is a supply chain. Later on, I will explain why Clark is an ideal site for supply chain. I will also explain that there is now a manufacturing assembling company on vehicle that first will roll out on February 9 for the first time in the history of Clark. Will be operating and working along the concept of supply chain. Okay, all this, now I generate employment, but after we sign contract and after companies have organized their companies, I share this with you, Michael. The owners of the contract will say, what the heck, where are the employees? Where are the skills I need for my business? Where are they? And so what we created is, if you locate in Clark, I will match you with a school or an NGO that will do training program for the skills you need, even before you construct, so that when you construct and start developing, you have the skills. So we provide the facilities, the training program, the trainers and everything, so that when you start operation, viola, the employment issue will not become as serious as it used to be. We train this, and every week we train, even mechanics and drivers. In fact, who plays golf here? Taas mo, sir. Oski. Pati, Caddy. There will be a training program for Caddy so that all Caddies will be certificated. Caddies working in Clark will be certificated so that they become world-class. I have world-class golf courses. I have to marry them with world-class caddies. And so because I say this, Philippine Airlines, believe in me, for the first time in almost 19 years, the PAL Interclub, Oski, believe it or not, will be held in Clark at Mimosa next month. And so what are the results after all this blah, blah, blah about people, about culture, about values, about reforms? Let me brag a little bit. Another 2 seconds. Let me do some comparatives. From 1996 to 2012, 17 years, the revenues, 10.6 billion. Very high. But if you compare that to 2013 to 2015, 3 years, 4.1 billion. In terms of net income, in the 17 years, there was 1.4 billion. In the 3 years that we handled, there is 1.6 billion. Don't ask me why. I can only be responsible for the years during my watch. I cannot answer for the last 17 years where the net income went. Next point. The cash balance when I assume for the last 17 years was 649 million. Cash, real cash. In the 3 years that we have my watch, Madam, I have 2.3 billion. This is not accounting treatment. You will find the support of this cash in placement certificates, in bank books. In other words, the cash is real. Cash dividends paid for the last 17 years, total, 634 million. In the last 3 years during my watch, sir, ladies and gentlemen of the Asia Forum, we have paid more than 700 million in dividends. And if you will add the dividends that will be paid because our performance in 2015, the dividends that will be paid will be much, much more than 1 billion. Number of locators. Of course, I did not get the locators. The locators came in. Of course, I did not locate. I enticed them by providing an environment for investment. The locators, when I joined in 2012, was 606. I tend to correct you a little bit, my friend. It is not 700. It is 821 locators in place in Clark as of this moment. When I joined, employment was, or export, okay, it flashes on the screen, you can see the magic of progress. It is equivocated to the increase in the number of locators. Naturally, the exports increase. When I came, employment was actual 71,000. As of November last year, which is being reviewed, we have around 84,000, subject to fluctuations of up and downs because it has to be reviewed and validated. My target remains and continue to be the same. I hope, I wish, and I pray to God, for the sake of country and community, I achieve 100,000 employment by the end of 2016. In addition to this, I have recovered lands 326. Revive. Yung mga tutulog-tulog na lupa. Yung mga hindi nag-develop. What I told them, sir, ma'am, please develop. If you develop, give me the timelines. Sir, ma'am, please develop. If you cannot develop, give me back the land. We can negotiate on what I will return to you. Sir, ma'am, develop. Those who hesitated, I legally and forcefully asked them to leave, so that I have many cases now. But I have to enforce the law. So we have recovered 326 hectares revived, and we have recovered 33 hectares, all told. In a period of 3 years, we have additional land, 350 hectares. And they are available for locators who are interested. Some of them are no longer available, taken, but there are other prime space available. I put up structures amounting to 400 million. Later on, I will tell you and explain to you some of these structures. We have formulated the retirement plan. You know, when I joined government, there was a retirement program, but it was not funded. There was a retirement program, but, you know, there was no basis. And so when I joined, I had to do an actuarial. And it was established that if we will follow the retirement program provided for in the collective bargaining agreement and law, there is accrued liability of 420 million. And every time someone retires, management will have to program and align their budgets to pay. Now, I have funded initially 400 million for the retirement plan. If you retire and your papers are complete in 7 days, you get your retirement in full. Major problems, I have problems from A to Z. More than 70% of that major. But I think you'll understand. Many of you perhaps would like to hear this. I asked permission for me to disclose this. And Asset Pool agreed that I can disclose this. 2 days from now, we will open the bids for the privatization of Mimosa. This has been a long pestering wound that existed at the Clark Freeport Zone for more than 15 years. Hopefully it will be open. Asset Pool is here. Hi, sir. The president of Asset Pool. You are on time. Did they queue you or when to enter? Many things happen by coincidence and accident. The lawyer is also here. How are you, sir? If I say anything wrong, feel free to shout. Okay? But if you shout, I will not finalize our agreement. Anyway, we have settled with them. Can I tell them a little bit of how the Mimosa structuring went? Mimosa involved around close to 300 hectares. There is Holiday Inn. Holiday Inn is there. There is Mimosa. There is golf course. There is everything. It used to be run and operated by a person called Gonzales. You see, some of you smile. 300 hectares were given to him to develop. In developing, he did not use his money. He borrowed from various banks, syndicated banks, 1.2 billion, more or less. Ma'am, tama ba? He borrowed. So he put up the hotel, he put up the golf course, he put up Mimosa, money from the bank, asset pool. Contract with Gonzales was terminated. CDC said, we will not honor the obligation. But in not honoring the obligation, they were drawing revenues from the facilities constructed by the loan. I said, how can this be? You know, so there were tedious meetings, compromises, and we agreed. What is fair is fair. I cannot unjustly enrich myself at the expense of another. If money was borrowed to make a development, you better pay what was borrowed. And so, lo and behold, there were 5 privatization attempts in the previous years. Everyone failed because asset pool presented a critical and a substantive obstacle. After some heated negotiations, sometimes I am tempted to walk out and I bang table and everything else. We settled. Everything has been arranged together with the Supreme Court agreement on the compromise agreement. This Friday in the morning, we will open the bids for the privatization of Mimosa. That solves a major obstacle, which nobody dared in the past presidency of CDC to do. I dared. Because if my predecessors made it very difficult for me to land CDC or to run and manage CDC when I joined, I will not do that for my successors. I will make their term in CDC a walk in the park. And so I settled many things. I have addressed many administrative cases and legal cases, and including the privatization. Asset pool, maraming salamat ho. Sana matuloy. Sana ho matuloy. There are many Filipinos, known Filipino corporations, but I am not privy to disclose them, who are participating in this bid. And believe me, they are all biggest and titans in realty development. I really hope that it is settled. CSR, Institutionalized Training Program. Let me touch this a little bit because I saw the new dean of UP there. Hi, ma'am, how are you? I hope we can work together before my term is up. Because my dream, ma'am, right now I have management program for my management team and for my rank and file. MBA course, certificated. You know what my dream is? I hope that I can do a curriculum with the assistance of Director Villanueva and now with UP. I hope I can do a curriculum where I can have a certificated MBA program, Masters in Ecosons Management. One of the secret and the game changer in the economy of this republic is how to manage economic zones, and economic zones are all over the place. There are economic zones in Mindanao, Zamboanga. There are economic zones in, La Union. There are economic zones in Baguio. They are all over the place. But you must develop that expertise, sir, of developing management of economic zone. It is my dream. It is my advocacy and my obsession that I can formulate a curriculum headed by no less than UP and perhaps Ateneo. there's a better school, Sambeda. I studied there. But I cannot do that because conflict of interest. I sit as member of the board of directors. And because Sambeda is excluded, we go to the lower, we go to UP and Ateneo and LaSalle. I hope I can formulate this thing, okay? And this is my dream. He reminded me, COA findings. Baka sasabihin nyo, nambobola. Puta, not si Tugade, nambobola lang to eh. You know, for our performance in 2014, we have the audit finding COA. Many in government fear COA. My goodness gracious, I got a COA report which makes what we have done financially, what we have disbursed, what we have done operationally in Clark is unqualified. In other words, we have been doing things in accordance with the fundamentals of accounting and in accordance with the rules of government. Mind you, sir, unqualified. Meaning to say, we are doing things in line with government mandates. Meaning to say, we are doing these things in line with the standard practices of accounting. Okay, so never mind those awards. Sometimes we deserve also a pat on our shoulders. In the 3 years that we were there, awards were given. One of those is the Asia Forum Award, where you have given us, look what I get. While people are enjoying their coffee, I'm talking here. Yeah. So never mind, pass the award. What is Clark? Okay, Mr. Tugade, you've been talking about everything else. What exactly is Clark? And this is where I ask you to pay attention. Clark is a piece of property situated in Pampanga, covering an area of around 34,000 hectares. Of the 34,000 hectares, 4,200 hectares is divided between SEAC, the airport component, and 2,000 hectares with CDC. This is the area we are talking about. Insofar as CDC and SEAC is concerned, there are enough lands, still lands available for some of you who are interested. I ask you to study the demographics. When you step out, I will not spend details here anymore because my friend is already standing up. You told me I can speak for 2 hours. You know, you regret that. Huh? They have the map. They have the map there. Get the map, get the demographics. It is an area where there is an airport. An airport, 100 flights, passengers a week. 26 or 27 flights on cargo, loaded. You have the best airport in the Republic of the Philippines. This is the only airport that can accommodate a shuttle by NASA. Ganyan hong katindihan. So this is an area where you find connectivity with the airport and with Subic Port. In 35 to 40 minutes, depending on what cargo you carry, you are at the Subic Port. If you have the airport within sight and the seaport 34 to 40 minutes, all those doing manufacturing, all those doing logistics, you agree with me that the fundamentals of supply chain is there. That the fundamental of doing business in manufacturing is there. You have the advantage of mobility and you have the advantage of logistics. Clark is very safe. Much talk has been mentioned about the earthquake belt. Much talk done about the climate change, about floods, earthquake. Let me call your attention to the fact that Clark is not within the earthquake belt. So it is not susceptible to a major earthquake. Clark and Pampanga Clark is above 80 to 128 meters above mean sea level. Meaning to say, if Clark is flooded, some catastrophe or disaster already is happening in Metro Manila. You want stability and safety when you Go to Clark? Go to Clark, because this is reality. We are not within earthquake belt. This is reality. We are 128 meters above sea level. This is reality. Go there, it is safe, it is clean. In Clark, in the 3 years that I have been there, every nook and corner there, I think the locators know this, is fully CCTVized. Don't do crazy things there. You think, madilim, walang ilaw, dark, there is no light. That's where the CCTVs are located. But of course, I'm not telling you all locations. That's not allowed. So you can feel safe. Clark is clean and green. Ang sabi nga nila, I hope you will forgive me for some layman's language or vulgar language. Sa Clark daw ho, pag nagtatrabaho, malalaman mo, sir, attorney, yung nagtatrabaho sa Clark, yung kulangot daw, maliit. Pero yung kulangot sa Metro Manila, makapal. Kasi walang pollution sa Clark. Sa Metro Manila, may pollution na. Meron pa diesel engines. Ganun yun. Come to Clark. Kung gusto mo yung kulangot mo maging maliit, come to Clark. You're welcome to join us in Clark. As I said, pardon the, sir, pardon me. Okay. Why do you have to come to Clark? Anybody? I heard Ayala is here. Ayala water? Ayala water? Ma'am? I will not go there anymore. I'm up here already. Clark water in Clark. The commercial rate is 26. Comparatively outside Metro Manila is 32. And this is after we were able to reduce the price of water per cubic meter by 1 peso effective September last year. Tama ho ba? After negotiation, a hard negotiation with the Ayala group of companies. You know how Ayala is? Oh, they give you tough negotiators. They are always prepared. So sometimes our negotiation become, very confrontational. At one time, I challenged them already to a peace fight. And I think it was because of the challenge that they agreed to reduce their water rate by 1 peso per cubic meter effective September 1. I'm just kidding. But what am I trying to impress here? You may be big shot. You may be big in your industry. But once you negotiate in the spirit of mutual respect and trust, in the spirit of being able and wanting to do something for this country and government, negotiation will be easy. When you negotiate, remove the pride as I removed my pride negotiating with asset pool. You remove your arrogance and pride as I was negotiating with Clark Water. The negotiation happened and was finalized only for 3 months. And that is Ayala Group. And they were willing to bend and say, okay, Art, for you, for CDC and for government, because we trust you, we will reduce our water rate by 1 peso per cubic meter. On top of that, we will commit 5 billion? 5? 10? Okay. Several billions of pesos to upgrade the pipes, the sewage system and everything over a horizon of 3 years. 5 years? 2 years. 3 years. Okay? I hope that people here who will be negotiating with Clark in the near future come to us, trust us, respect us. In the same manner, we will respect you and trust you in the hope that we will not waste time negotiating, in the hope that we will see the light. Together in partnership, we can do something for government and country. I hope that in due time, after water, I'll be negotiating with Electric, Clark Electric. So that my idea is to make the economic zone in Clark reasonable power costs, reasonable water costs, so that Clark and economic zone will aangat, will be better than any other economic zone. Right now, power in Clark is 6 pesos and 98 per kilowatt hour. Compared outside in Metro Manila, 826 per kilowatt hour. Already it's low. But compared to the Asian countries, still high. So what am I trying to do and what we are trying to do in CDC? We are trying to create a basket of possible power sources. Through BCDA, our holding company, we hope that BCDA can be a registered retail electric supply provider so that we can forward purchase power from those generating power. This is almost about to be consummated, subject to the final approval of BCDA and government, wherein we will purchase 80 megawatts from a power generating company. We'll put up a transmission line somewhere in Mabalacat and supply power to some locators in Clark, and that will drastically reduce power rate. Because a power rate in the Republic of the Philippines has 3 components: generator, transmission, and distribution. When we forward purchase power, then for those who are familiar with power, we can reduce our transmission cost and our distribution costs. That 698 or 628 something will have to go down hopefully within the year. In addition to this, we are looking for alternative sources of power. Already coming out and soon to come out in the next 2 months is our solar farm. It's not our solar farm. It is the solar farm of one locator. They have a funny sounding crazy name. In fact, I did not want to sign up with them. You know why? The name of the company is Sindicato. How can you sign up with the Sindicato? So I asked them if possible to change their name. They did not want. So okay, that's your prerogative, I sign up. So I signed up with Sindicato. This will be operationally by hopefully April, May of this year to add up. Then we are talking with some conversion to waste to energy because we have a huge landfill. We have a huge landfill in Clark. It's state-of-the-art, world-class. It's not a dump fill. It is landfill. Walang langaw, walang amoy. Go there. You can even have your dates, romantic dates, on top of the landfill. No smell, no langaw. We have scenic spots there. After they fill that up, it will become a very vital real estate for Clark. Hopefully, I'll still be around selling it. And so, reliable utilities, you have PLDT guys, thank you for the help. You have Clark, thank you for the help. You will soon have the Ayala Group, Globe, and everybody else. Thank you for the help. Clark, I want to bring in all the biggies of business. Because ultimately, you'll have free competition and open competition, and who will benefit? The ones staying in Clark. My lines are all fiber optics. Hopefully, my dream, I will follow GGLC, or my lines will all be underground. I will set the fundamentals and the predicate for that to happen. Watch out, Mr. PLDT. Watch out, Mr. Clark. I will be requesting for a meeting with you to give me a schedule when we will fully put all those lines underground. And you will have to give us a commitment. You nodded, huh? You agree? They agree. Is this recorded, sir? Can you give me that portion? Okay. All the others we can skip. I still have You know, it's actually my style. I'm trying to finish the time so that there will be no more open forum. And so all these things, what are the infra projects? Come to Clark. You have a jogging path. Many of you, I think, Bri, you run. That UP circle, 2.2 kilometers. We have a similar thing like that in Clark. But you know the difference, sir? It's rubberized. Even old people like me and Oski's gone, you can run without hurting your heels. And we spend a lot of money there. Infrastructures, put it back. Papa is getting old. The Bayanihan Park Rotonda, for those staying, I put that up, a rotonda. That's why traffic was east. And in addition to that, I'm putting up a connectivity from that rotonda to the MacArthur Highway. I call it the Clark, Mabalacat, Angeles, perimeter wall that will ease further traffic. That will be done this year. It will be finished this year. I mentioned about the CCTV. There are lots of other infrastructures. As I mentioned earlier, we spend around 350 million for infrastructures, not using PDAP, using internally generated funds of CDC. I did not go to government as for appropriation. It is internally generated funds. And so, we have hotels, world class. We have 2,000 rooms. We have 6 major hotels. There are golf courses. There's blah, blah, blah. In other words, if you come to Clark, unlike any other economic zone, it will appeal to your total persona, not only as a businessman, but as a person, as a human being that is ready to work, ready to live, and ready to play. We provide all these facilities. There are wellness. And in addition to this, last year, on time for the APEC, I have improved our museum, promise, world class. I have also introduced, or rather CDC has also introduced, a 4D theater. If you go overseas and go to museums with theater, if you experience the volcanic eruption of Vesuvius, come to Clark. Go watch the 4D theater, ma'am. You will experience the explosions of Pinatubo as you will see and feel for yourself the history of Clark. And I will give you a deal. All those attending the meetings now, just say you attended the CEO forum on January 13, we will give you the benefit of the doubt. When you go there at any time, entrance fee for the museum, entrance fee for the 4D theater for free. You can bring your family because we like them to experience Clark. All you have to say is, Art Tugade said, it's free. If they charge you, pay. No, pay, but just put it on the record. I will reimburse you. So it gives me an excuse to see you and meet you all over again. Okay? Come see it for yourselves. Why do I do this? I had Mr. Sobel of the Ayala Group. I think he owns Ayala, something like that. No? Very rich fellow. He went there. They also have museum. You know what he said? Art. We have been wanting to do some improvements at the museum to make it interactive to young people and the students and the youth. You are able to do it here in Clark. May I borrow some of the concept and improve on it? That was the highest compliment, being paid and being given by someone who is familiar with running a museum. Come visit this. It's world class. You'll be proud as a Kapampangan, but more importantly, you'll be proud as a Filipino. World class. You will not expect anything like this in the normal provinces. And so, In addition to this, we have Clark Up. Try it now. Paano ba yun? Clark Up, Clark Up. It's all there. And then, in addition to this, it will now be Wi-Fi free by the end of this year. Go to Clark. We have started phase 1 of our Wi-Fi pre-component in Clark. Already Wi-Fi pre are the places, Parade Ground, the main gate, Nayong Filipino, and some other areas. I hope that before the end of the year, all the areas in Clark that has population density will all be Wi-Fi friendly. Because of this, there were many international activities. APEC. I think you have heard about APEC, and you have experienced APEC. Passing through EDSA and passing through elsewhere. You have experienced APEC. Yes, Clark hosted the first senior ministers meeting of APEC as APEC component in the month of February. No incidents of loss. No incidents of traffic. That's why people come and flock to Clark. You have the hot air balloon soon. February, the hot air balloon. You are all invited. You cannot ride the balloon free because I do not have control over that. But if you are able to say hello to Eba properly, he's up there doing the screen. I think all the tickets have been given us. Give some for free, give some for free. But don't hold me to that. It's just a remark. Then there is MICECON, all this international conference, sports, health, even religious activities are being held in Clark. You know why? For the APEC, I put up, or rather, that's not true, Fontana put up to our padding the biggest convention center that can seat 1,700 delegates at any one time. That's the biggest. There's no pillar in between. Lahat nakaside. Go visit there. Have your wedding parties, baptism parties, where you will invite 2,000 people. Have them in Clark. We have the facilities to accommodate that. Coming soon. We have a Kapilyon project, 7 billion, hopefully to generate 75,000 in 7 years. This will be hopefully operational first phase 2017. Coming soon, Hilton Hotel. Maybe you have heard, yes, ma'am. Hilton Hotel already started construction. Hopefully they will be operational in 2017. Coming soon, Marriott Hotel. They will manage widows. Coming soon, sir, GG, Global Gateway. CDC has nothing to do with this in terms of expense and business generation. Again, it was settled. It's now Global Gateway that handles that area, the aerospace. Coming soon, a project of $150 million with floor area of 42,000 and job generation of 15,000. Very soon. I think 2018, sir? 2019? Earlier. Next year? Okay? So these are the things happening in Clark. Why is this so? I'll even have a zoo. There will be no monkeys in that zoo. There are already monkeys all over, so I'm not willing to put monkeys there. There will be no crocodiles also in that zoo. So many crocodiles all over. So we are putting there, ano ba yun? Yung white Bengali tiger, giraffe, long neck, so that instead of drinking rum, you just go to the zoo and enjoy the long neck. It's more pleasant that way, so we'll put that. Let me touch a little bit about corporate social responsibility. I injected an innovation when I joined government. Many of you have studied management courses, and nowhere will you find corporate social responsibility as a critical success factor. I said, during my watch, I want corporate social responsibility to be a critical success factor. And therefore, I try to push and push and push hard. I try to spend wisely, supporting corporate social responsibility. This is part of what APEC calls as inclusive growth. I want them to come in, especially those who have less in life, especially those who are underprivileged. I will give you the training and the employment. These are all I ask. And so, over the years, we have gotten awards internationally and locally on how we do our corporate social responsibility. If you are up to it, join us. Partner with us in some of the corporate social responsibilities here. January 22, I'll sign a contract and memorandum of agreement whereby, together with Clark Water, we will provide water in the hinterlands of Hadwan. It is a part of Sacobia where the Aitas habitate and roam and live. We'll provide them with clean, potable water. Before the start of the second quarter, I will now be measuring the air quality in Clark. And so when you enter, you'll find an air quality index. So that the challenge is to maintain a quality index that is dictated by APEC. We'll do earthquake mapping, etc., all these things. We are signing up, and we have signed up with Philippine Foundation for Philippine Disaster Relief Foundation with Pangilinan, Lopez, Father Tagle, Aboitis. You know, this building will soon go up there to address climate change. And all this, oh yeah, my favorite. You know what this is? This is a hybrid train that does not use fuel 100%. It is a road train. We are experimenting on this so that we try to minimize carbon footprints. Blah, 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 Tugade, that's all talk. No, sir. We have launched this January 9 on an experimental basis. Of course, as we launch, there were political bickerings all over the place. I'm displacing the jeepneys, I'm providing unemployment. Shit, you know. This is for generation. Let me experiment this. I hope it works out. It's good for generations and generations and generations to come. These are the things which we are doing there. So I think it's now 5 minutes before 10. Let me just end my talk by saying two things and underscoring two things. You want growth and development in your own respective domain? Have good governance and have transparency. This applies not only to government, it applies to all. Inject culture, inject values, inject ways of doing things in line with your own culture and values and ways of doing things. Believe me, it will do wonders and it will spell a lot of difference. In fact, better than doing strategic plannings, because strategic plans without culture and values and ways of doing things is destined to fail. We have done a lot of things in Clark. In the 3 years that we have been there, is it enough? No, sir. I hope that in the next administration that will run and operate and manage CDC, they can follow the templates which we have set and follow the footprints which we have created, so that the growth and improvement in line with good governance and transparency will continue. Allow me to end by saying and introducing myself again to you. My name is Art Tugade, a proud employee of the Clark Development Corporation, equally proud to be a government servant. Good morning.